Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to my WWE 205 live review for January 10th, 2017. I know I'm a little late getting this video up, but, I just kind of got busy with other things, so I'm here to give it to you now. And I'm looking forward to watching this episode. It has some good stuff on it. I'm not like a huge fan of 205 Live, though, as I am like Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, but I think 205 Live has some good stuff on it, and like I said, nothing against the show. It's just that's kind of the reality of the situation. It's not as good as Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, but it's fine to watch. I don't mind watching it. It's only an hour, so you know. But we got some good stuff looking. That's gonna for this episode. We have Cedric Alexander versus Noam Dar. I think the match is going to be good, but I just don't care about this feud just because of the fact that it's over Alicia Fox and it's just been terrible. It makes both guys look bad. It makes Cedric Alexander look even worse too because he's the one that's saddled with it the most. I'm not saying Alicia Fox is bad, but it's just it takes the focus off the other two wrestlers and everything. And I don't like feuds that are over a relationship in wrestling. It's just not my type of cup of tea unless it makes sense. And this one is just terrible. We're gonna have a parlay on this show, which is a gentleman's agreement between Alia Duvall and Jack Gallagher. I think that's gonna be awesome. Just because anything that Jack Gallagher is involved with is gold, and this feud I actually have interest in. I actually like this feud. It's actually a good mid-card feud, so I want to see what happens here. And then we have, I think, what's going to be the main event of the show. It's going to be Rich Swann versus Toney Nese. First time we've seen Rich Swann. He was taken out by Neville. Going to be interesting to see what happens. So, yeah, 205 Live looks like it could be a good show. So we're going to have to wait and see. And I hope you enjoyed the review. I'm going to cover the review in small videos and turn it into a big video. And, yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so we had Corey Graves, Mauro Ranallo, and Austin Aries on commentary for this show. And the first match on the show was Cedric Alexander with Alicia Fox ringside versus Noam Dar. And like I said, I thought this was a really good match. It just kind of is a shame that I really don't like their feud because I think if they had a good feud, the matches would be better. But the match was still really good. Cedric Alexander well, first, that's not what happens. Noam Dar comes out and he talks about, how if you thought that kiss on Raw was going to get rid of me, then you have another thing coming. Because the chicks, they don't call me the romance of the cruiserweights for nothing. And he says that he is going to disfigure Cedric Alexander right in front of Alicia Fox. And so that way she'll have no choice but to leave him. So yeah. But we had the match itself, and Cedric Alexander beats the crap out of Noam Dar in the beginning of the match. He just brutalizes him. He hits a wicked head scissors, which I thought looked cool. And he goes to do his handstand enziguri, but Noam Dar ends up hitting a drop kick right to his face. I thought that looked really sick while he was upside down. And Noam Dar pretty much dominates the matchup from that point. He hits a wicked uppercut on Cedric Alexander that I thought looked cool. And he gets Cedric Alexander into a straitjacket. And Cedric Alexander then ends up reversing it into his own. And then Noam Dar is able to throw him into the corner. And then eventually Cedric Alexander starts to hit his comeback. He goes for the springboard clothesline, but Noam Dar counters into the Fujiwara elbow. And he really starts to work over the arm of Cedric Alexander because the arm was already injured. But then he puts it up against the steel post, bangs it against the steel post right in front of Alicia Fox, and he puts his arm right into the steel steps, and he's about to drop kick the steps into his arm, but Alicia Fox stops him, and this distracts Cedric Alexander, and this distracts Noam Dar for a while, and Cedric Alexander hits a drop kick through the ropes on Noam Dar, and Cedric Alexander tells Alicia Fox just not to get involved in the match. He says he's got this. And then he puts Noam Dar back in the ring, hits the springboard clothesline. Cedric Alexander Xander goes for the cover. Noam Dar kicks out. He goes for the lumbar check, but Noam Dar is able to reverse it. He hits the the handstand insecurity. Noam Dar still kicks out, and then eventually he tries to go for a some type of move, but Noam Dar slams him onto the turnbuckle, and he tries to back suplex him off the turnbuckle, but Cedric Alexander is able to fight out of it, and then he tries to go for a moonsault, and this is where the match gets weird. Alicia Fox ends up pulling Noam Dar out of the way, and Cedric Alexander ends up crashing and burning. And Noam Dar is surprised by this. Alicia Fox is surprised by this. And then Noam Dar wins with a Inseguri, I forget what the name of the move is, and gets the victory. And I don't have no clue where this is going. I guess maybe what's going to happen is Alicia Fox maybe now has some feelings for Noam Dar. I don't think this feud's over, unfortunately. I think that's where the direction is going to go. And it's going to probably lead to Cedric Alexander on Raw breaking up with Alicia Fox, and then she'll end up being with Noam Dar, and Alicia Fox will want to get revenge on Cedric Alexander for breaking up with her. That's probably where it's going, which I think is terrible. And then it shows a video package for Akira Tozawa, and it shows Kalisto hyping him up. He talks about, how much of a great athlete he is, and he said, and I thought he did a good job, so I can't wait to see Akira Tozawa debut. I really enjoyed him in the Cruiserweight Classics, and I can't wait to see what he does when he comes to 205 Live, so that's going to be awesome. But overall, and I forgot to mention too, after the Cedric Alexander Noam Dar match, Alicia Fox slapped the dog shit out of Noam Dar again. So overall, I thought 205 Live has been pretty good. I really wasn't like a huge fan of the finish between the Cedric Alexander Noam Dar match, but if it leads to where I think it's going, to Cedric Alexander finally getting away from Alicia Fox, I can deal with it. Okay, so next match was the Brian Kendrick versus Sean Malouda. And before the match, the Brian Kendrick gets on the mic, and he's pretty much disappointed with Tajiri, saying that he threw away a nearly 2-decade friendship. He said that he thought that they were friends, and he said that he sprayed the green mist in his eyes. He says that the next time him and Tajiri get in the ring, he's going to make him choke on the green mist. And he even talks about too how he could have been blinded and everything. And he says, as for Sean Malouda, and he says that he's good, but right now is not his time. He says that Sean Malouda, if Tajiri could beat him, then he's not going to last 30 seconds with the Brian Kendrick. So the match starts, and it actually was a solid match. The Brian Kendrick hits a wicked big boot in the beginning, and Sean Malouda nearly beats him with a roll-up in almost 30 seconds, which I thought was kind of cool. And Sean Malouda just kicks Brian Kendrick's ass for a while. He ended up hitting a flip dive from the apron, a somersault dive from the apron, I should say. And he nearly gets Kendrick off that. He hits a diving headbutt on Kendrick, and Kendrick kicks out. And then Kendrick ends up getting the advantage, and he dominates the matchup for a little bit. But then Sean Malouda makes a comeback. He ends up hitting he goes for a diving headbutt, but Kendrick moves out of the way. And after this, he hits his face on the mat, and Sean Malouda gets busted open, but he's still able to hit a super kick on him. And Kendrick ends up kicking out. He goes for a diving headbutt. He goes for a splash off the top rope, but Kendrick gets his knees up and gets him into the captain's hook for the win, because Sean Malouda taps out, and that was it. I thought it was okay. Nothing special, but I thought it was a solid match. And then afterwards, Alicia Fox and Cedric Alexander were backstage, and pretty much what happens is Cedric Alexander breaks up with her. He says pretty much because she cost him the match tonight, and she said, you should just go be with Noam Dar, that pervert, because you can just spank him around all the time. You can just smack him around all the time. And he says that we're done, and he leaves. And afterwards, Alicia Fox just goes crazy, saying no one breaks up with her. So obviously what I think is going to happen now is she's going to be sought out on revenge on Cedric Alexander, and she's probably going to end up being with Noam Dar, which is going to be terrible. But I thought the freak out was pretty funny, though, so that was hilarious. Okay, next was the parlay between Jack Gallagher and Arya Daivari. And Jack Gallagher finds out William, and he says, before we start this, then, do you want any cup of tea or anything like that? And he says, let's just get this over with. He's like, you wanted me here for this. Let's get this over with. So then Jack Gallagher puts down William, his umbrella, which I thought that was kind of funny. He calls it William. And Jack Gallagher then talks about, how he's, Alia Devari has besmidged his integrity, and how he's besmidged his name, which I thought was funny. He says it very gentlemanly. And Alia Devari then says, you've humiliated me on a handful of times, and you pretty much are trying to say that you forfeit this fight, that you forfeit this rivalry, you lost. And he also says that he has a family name to live up to. And Jack Gallagher then says, this isn't going to be end classy. We're going to end this in a fight. So he shows him the contract, and he says he's already signed it. Alia Devari then picks it up and says, what is an I forfeit match? And he pretty much says it's pretty much an I quit match, but instead of saying I quit, you say I forfeit. And he says that whoever forfeits doesn't only lose the match, they also lose the rivalry, and they have to accept that forever. And Alia Devari signs the contract, and then he goes to shake his hand, Jack Gallagher, but then Alia Devari grabs the umbrella, drops it on the ground, and Jack Gallagher starts to take off the suit and says, I hope the Queen isn't watching. And Jack Gallagher attacks Alia Devari, and the two stop brawling. It has to be separated by officials, and that was it. I thought this was actually really good, and it actually gets me to want to see the I Quit match. I actually can't wait to see it. This feud's actually, I really enjoyed this feud. I think they've done a good job making it personal, and I think seeing this I Quit match in the future is going to be awesome. And they've done such a good job of setting this up. They haven't touched in a few weeks, and I can't wait to see it. I don't know who's going to win the I Quit match. Well, the I Forfeit match. I think it's probably going to end up being Jack Gallagher. I think that would make sense, but we're going to have to wait and see. But I thought this was a really good segment. Okay, so the main event was Rich Swann versus Toney Nese. I thought this match was a good match. Toney Nese destroys Rich Swann in the beginning. He ends up dropping him onto the barricade, and he ends up just dominating Rich Swann. He ends up hitting a pump while Rich Swann's like tangled up in the ropes, and then he hits a gut buster, but Rich Swann's able to kick out. What else happens? Toney Nese ends up hitting a wicked running knee that I thought looked really cool. And eventually Rich Swann starts to make his comeback. He goes for the Tiger Bomb. Toney Nese counters and hits a bunch of knee strikes on him. And eventually he hits the what's it called? Oh, he hits the double stomp on Swann, and Swann ends up kicking out. Then Swann hits the Tiger Bomb and then hits a spinning kick to the head for the win, which I thought made sense since he was just coming back, and he's the champion. He shouldn't be losing. And then afterwards, Rich Swann gets on the mic and he says, "Now that's what I'm talking about." And he talks about how he says that there's someone that says that he's the king of the cruiserweights. He talks about how there's a gargoyle going around that says he's the self-proclaimed king of the cruiserweights. And then he says, "Well, the last time I checked, I'm the cruiserweight champion, and this is and 205 Live is my show." And then Neville comes out and he says that how could you consider yourself the cruiserweight? Because I have laid you out a number of times, and ever since I've joined this division, I have just been laying waste to the roster. And then Rich Swann says, "Apparently, I can't hear you all the way over there, but you apparently can with your Dumbo ears. So why don't you come down here and do something about it?" And then Neville says, "Typical Americans try to blame me for their downfalls. Well, I am not going to get in the win with you until I have the WWE Cruiserweight Championship." So he says that his coronation is going to take place at the biggest pay-per-view of all, the Royal Rumble. And then Rich Swann says that he can't handle this, and then that was it. I thought this was good. You set up the Cruiserweight Championship match, and I thought they had a solid main event. So I thought this was all pretty good stuff here. And overall, I thought WWE 205 Live for this, for last week was actually a pretty good show. There wasn't really anything I necessarily hated on this show. I thought Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar had a good match. I thought Kendrick and Malouda had a solid match. I liked the parlay between Oya Davari and Jack Gallagher, and I thought the main event was a solid main event. So overall, this was a pretty good episode of 205 Live. If I had to rate it, I'd rate it a 6 out of 10. And make sure you, I just almost forgot to say it, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channels, the CM Brothers and Owen the Talkinator one, and make sure to subscribe down below to Wrestling Fortune 44.